Hi, BookTube. It's Gina. How are you? Happy Friday. Yay! I thought I'd do a check-in and talk about the books that I finished this week and a couple of books that I have recently started. We are having a beautiful sunny day here today, which always makes me really happy and puts me in a good mood. And so I'm sitting here, you can't see it, but I'm sitting in front of these two really huge windows, and there's trees in front of me and sun poking in. So it's just gorgeous. Let's talk about some books. I finished two books this week. One that had been straggling on, and one that I did as a buddy read. So the first one I want to talk about is let's see if I can, there we go. The Black Prince by Iris Murdoch. And Iris Murdoch, if you aren't familiar with her, is a very literary writer. I would say literary fiction back in the 1980s, 70s. Let's see, this one was copyrighted in 1973. And she's a really interesting author to me. I own a bunch of her books. I will pop in some footage of my Iris Murdoch collection. I've got a whole bunch of these oranged spined penguins that I love, although I have to say they've not really held up very well, because I've owned this for a long time. And they're just kind of falling apart. This one also, the label peeled off. Some of the cover when I tried to peel the label off when I bought it. So this edition I will probably end up replacing and possibly throwing this one away because nobody's gonna want it. But anyway, I've got a large collection of Iris Murdoch. I went through a phase, probably back in the 90s, where I just fell head over heels for her style, which is dark and snarky, but very smart and intellectual. She dives into the meaning of life, the meaning of art, the meaning of literature in really interesting ways. I struggled with this one a little bit. I think I just have gotten out of the habit of reading these kinds of books, and so it didn't come naturally to me to just kind of settle into it. It is a sort of a main character looking back. I was going to say sort of a memoir, but he's telling the story of an event that happened in his life, and it is backward looking. So he's looking back and remembering this certain time period. He's 58 years old and is kind of reminiscing. He's an author. He thinks he's a very literate author, and he thinks the reason that he doesn't get any of his books published is because he's not willing to settle and write anything that is popular. So there's definitely some literary snobbishness, juxtaposed by his friend, who is also a writer, but who is a popular writer. So there's that sort of tension between the two throughout the book. It's got a very shocking ending, and as always with Iris Murdoch, things just go off the rails in a very bizarre and interesting ways. So I liked this book. I don't think I had read this one before. I couldn't remember, but I don't think I had read it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. And I'm glad I read it. I will probably keep going through my collection. I am going to read The Sea this month with Sandy's 1001 book club. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to read The Sea after doing this, but when I got my Oasis, which I haven't opened yet, I'm waiting until the 27th to unbox it, they did a free 3-month Audible trial, which they give that to anybody, so it wasn't really a great perk. However, I normally say, no, thanks, I don't want to do any free things for 3 months, because then I forget, and then you end up getting charged for it. You know how that goes. Um, But I did in this case because I thought that is a good way to read the Sea, to listen to it on Audible. So I think I'm going to start that on my Audible if I can remember to actually listen to it, because I don't normally listen to audiobooks. So we'll see how that goes. But I do want to try to read the Sea this month with Sandy's group. So that was The Black Prince. Next, I finished Greenbanks by Dorothy Whipple. And Dorothy Whipple is an author that was writing back in the early mid 20th century. I think Greenbanks was from the 30s-ish. I read that one on my Kindle. It's hard to see. This is a Kindle version of the Persephone classics. This one was published, originally in, I can't find the original publishing date. This has the publishing date of the Persephone. 1932. This was published originally in 1932. The Persephone editions are beautiful. This is actually a copy of Dorothy Whipple's The Priory, which I read in December. And if you're not familiar with these Persephone editions, they're paperbacks, but they've got a beautiful dust jacket, and then they've got these beautiful end papers that I just love to show them because they're so pretty, and they come with a matching bookmark. So I love these Persephone editions so much. So Greenbanks I read on my Kindle, and I really enjoyed Greenbanks. It was a buddy read with a friend of mine who's also named Gina, and we read it together. It was a lot of fun reading it together, and it was a really good book. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't love it. I don't think I would say it's a 5-star read for me, but I did really like it. I like Dorothy Whipple's style. I call it cozy with a bite, because she's got some difficult topics. She is not just pure cozy, but she does delve into some more difficult things in her books. So I did really enjoy this one. The funny thing about it on the Kindle was, you guys, this is so funny because I love reading on my Kindle, but I didn't realize that there was an afterword, not like an epilogue, but an afterword written by somebody else who's talking about Dorothy Whipple. And so I thought I had 18 minutes left in the book, but really I hit the last page and I scrolled over and it was over. And I was like, what happened? So I had to kind of go back, and I read the last couple pages again with the understanding that it was the end. Because one thing that I actually did like about this book is the ending was abrupt. And part of it was just that I was not ready for it because I thought I had more left. But part of it also is that Dorothy Whipple did not in this book wrap things up all beauty and happy ever after. With all of her characters, they all grew and learned and got to a spot where it was a good ending, but she didn't kind of just wrap everything up, which I actually really enjoyed. It's sort of Greenbanks' family saga about the family matriarch named Louisa, and primarily focuses on her and her granddaughter Rachel, who by the end of the book, Rachel has grown up and fallen in love herself and is having some trouble with her father. So it's really some family dynamics. There's some characters that you really don't like. There's some characters that you really like. But she really draws her characters very well. So I really enjoyed Greenbanks. I'd like to get the actual hard copy of the Persephone, so I might keep my eyes open for that used on thrift books or Abe or something like that to find a copy, because they're just beautiful. So those are the two books that I finished this week. I started The Sea on Audible. Oh, I also started Jane and Prudence by Barbara Pym. I'm going to read that on my Kindle too. I checked it out at the library. Wait, hold on a second. I will. Here, I've also forgot to grab this. I've also got, I love Barbara Pym. I own quite a few of her books. Also, most of them in paperbacks. Look at this. This is a old boxed set, but I don't think it's even been, I don't think any of these books have even been read. They look brand new. So Jane and Prudence by Barbara Pym. She was also writing in the early mid 20th century. I think she went a little later than Dorothy Whipple. I think she's got some more recent books. But Jane and Prudence, I'm gonna love rereading this. I'm sure I've read it. I just saw this on Marilyn Maya Mendoza's channel because she read it last month, I think, and loved it. And it reminded me that I needed a cozy book to read in bed on my Kindle at night. And so I thought, oh, yes, this is going to be perfect. So I did grab it on my Kindle from my library so that I could read it in bed at night. Because I love to read in bed in the dark, all cozied up with the covers with my Kindle like this. So that is what I'm currently doing. I think that's all I want to talk about for now. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I've got Monday off, so it's going to be a really nice, long, relaxing weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.